Okay, would help if I enabled audio. Okay, would help if I enabled audio. Okay, would help if I enabled audio. Okay, yeah, I think that's good. Yeah, that's... Ah, there we go. Okay, it's not giving me any proper window for where chat is, so I'll just have to use the YouTube one. But other than that, I think we're good. Unless I'm missing an option for it in OBS, which I probably am. Well, none. Yeah, no, this is all live. This is about the second live stream I've ever done, hence why it's a bit of a mess. I'm still getting used to that. Audio probably sounds a bit weird as I do most of my recording, like standing up with the mic balanced on top of a tripod, rather than just on my desk, but should be fine. Yeah, other than that, we good. Just gonna give it 5 minutes for people to turn up. It's only just dropped the act because I was a little slow on that, but then we'll get going. Ah, there we go. Sorted. No, I didn't have to manually censor everything. Just the stuff that was from Agony. For Succubus, the game comes pre-censored. But yeah, people who made a review of the original Agony, I think, did have to go through quite a lot of effort to censor that stuff. And I'm no stranger to it. Hiya, Bob. Hi, don't forget. Yeah, just gonna give this a couple minutes and then I'll get everything started up. Yeah, I spent all the time making this rig. I might as well use it. Yeah, editing can be tedious enough without manual censorship. It's a rather time-consuming process. Thank you. I'm very happy with it. It was originally something I had commissioned as a background, which I then post converted into a sort of VTuber model. Originally just for the sake of animation, but it worked out well. I don't really watch any VTubers. I kind of ended up being a VTuber, as I was saying, kind of by accident. I wanted a rigged model so that I could use it for animation because I'd actually used Live 2D a bit since way before like whole VTuber stuff had been popular. In fact, let me see if I can find something. 1 second. I might have to dig into a lot of old files for this. Do I have a... pictures? Okay, I kind of do. This is basically all I have left of it, I think. But behold, Amazon Alexa. My dissertation for university was essentially recreating that like waifu in a jar personal assistant thing. I was trying to recreate that, essentially rig up a model. So I learnt Live 2D for the sake of that. Yeah, we can get rid of my wonky art. So I tried to build one of those from Amazon Alexa. It didn't end up really happening, but I still have the parts somewhere, and I did learn the skills, and thus I ended up using them to animate myself. And then here we are now. You know, as it goes. So I don't really watch any. I'm sort of friends with a few, so I occasionally drop into their stream to sort of say hi. Like Nessika's probably the one I know best. She's a good egg, a good harpy. Yeah, not Waifu in Jar quite like that. I mean, it was a hologram thing. I don't even remember what it's called, but it was in a glass cylinder. I think it shut down. I don't think it even works anymore, but the way things go. Right, I've got a few people in. Yeah, might as well start. So this turned out to be more of an ambitious project than I had originally thought. Yeah, I like the Miku thing. As usual, this marker here represents where the original audio recording went to, and then here is once it was all cut down. No, I didn't even finish the project. I ended up dropping out of university in the third year. I'd still technically completed it, but I didn't pass the third year. So no, I didn't get that far into it. Right, okay. So yeah, total running time for the original audio was 39 minutes. Final was more in the range of 15, and we managed to make it up to 20 audio and video tracks, most of those being video. Let's start at the beginning. Let's zoom in a bit. There we go, okay. Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed it, Amy. Up here? Sorry, I'm mispronouncing it. Anyway, I'm getting distracted. So, Happy New Year to you too. The first shot's pretty easy, just a panning shot by using the crop internally, and then similar deal for this, but this is of course with a picture that I edited a bit. The candy cane, bottle of champagne, and constant contender weren't originally in the Christmas stocking there. One of the most time-consuming parts for this is essentially finding the right sort of stock images on Google or Yandex or whatever that I can then utilize for the actual background images. Finding the right ones can be a bit of a pain. Yeah, that's my Christmas edit I did from last year. I did commission a new Christmas Valk, but that didn't actually get finished on time. That only got finished right when I was near the end of editing, so I didn't have time to convert this fully into Live 2D to make it animatable like, well, like that is.
Everyone? And what better way?
Or waves and everything. The Valk character has real life lore of the Valk, which is what I go by, is essentially just a bit of my real name plus various other letters I liked smashed together to make something that I thought would be a interesting surname, because I'm not telling you what it is, but my real life surname it's just really, really boring. It's just not interesting. And it was at the time where some of my siblings were potentially changing their names. So I was like, oh, what would I change my surname to? And so I came up with De Valk. I later met some Dutch people, I don't know if Kay's in the chat, he might be, might not, who pointed out that De Valk just translates from Dutch as the falcon. And I happen to quite like the peregrine falcon as a bird of prey, so I ended up making a harpy based on that, because I've always been down bad for harpies a bit ever since, even before Monster Musume, back in like Monster Girl Quest. I think it's where it probably started. Oh, glad you're enjoying the videos. So yeah, that's the real life lore. I've toyed with ideas of like actual sort of story based lore, but I have too many stories I've written in my head, and none of them are really congruent. So nothing really there yet. The only real change is that I did eventually decide on a first name, and that being Raphael. Okay, yeah. Anyway, video. Yeah, so this clip probably isn't even that appropriate, because it's the crucifixion rather than the birth of Christ. Specifically, some mega church in America that redid it all with Avengers characters for some reason. Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad idea, though. Then, yeah, that's just a later part of the level with then a bunch of overlays over it. And we have the same thing from earlier, just with the industrial strength eggnog truck. Yeah, the Tony Stark Jesus thing's weird. I don't get why they did that. This bit took
Playing in the snow.
a ridiculously long amount of time to actually do, because if I mute these, Vidya actually has her knives out there, and so I had to cover them up to sort of continue the pretense of it being Christmassy. So that meant, no, not crop, you picture in picture. Essentially, picture in picture, just repositioning it for each of the keyframes so that they, no, that's not what I'm looking for. So that they would match up in every move that needed to be done manually. Yeah, I think that church might have, I don't know. This one was a bit easier. That's just a PNG put on top of the dude on fire. This again especially here where it was... I had to readjust it for just about every other frame. But that's just time. It's not too bad. Also because it moves in weird ways. No, that's the wrong one. I had to do adjustments essentially in 3 dimensions so that it moves appropriately. Also, because then it looks less like there's outright nudity in the opening. Then yeah, that is a very simple just moving something in 3 dimensions. My favourite demi-human has always been centaurs. I like centaurs. I'm maybe a bit of a hipster, but I'm actually more of a fan of servitors than centaurs. The deer versions, essentially. I think they're a bit smaller and a bit cuter. And yeah, so these bits are just pre-recorded. A little bit of behind-the-scenes stuff. If I actually pull up VTuber Studio, I have no legs because I made this on the free version where you only get a certain amount of space to render all your textures in, and as such, if the legs weren't going to be on screen, then might as well get rid of them and have a greater resolution for all the parts that were there. Yeah, that's just a easy edit and a pan. And good old Challenger 2, best tank on the market. It's not necessarily hard to edit, it's just very time consuming. As it takes a very long time. Talking of things that could potentially be time consuming, this swirl effect can just be done by opening the graphics menu, sticking animate and stick keyframes in it. However, the first time I ever used one of these, which is back in the Synthogear video, which I'd wager most of you haven't even watched because it got removed from YouTube for copyright. There still exists a link to it on for my BitChute, where it's still, I think, the only video I have up on there anymore. But back in the day, I just split every single frame into a different frame, and then just applied a different amount of the swirl to make it seem like it was animated. I know better now. Yeah. Oh yeah, we have the Wikipedia page for 2022 UK government crises, because there was 3 of them, and also 5 heads of state. Yeah, that's just a simple animation. Yeah, you'll notice here though.
Regardless, I'm dyslexic enough
that I have legs again, and yeah, there is a way to watch it. It's on my BitChute. I think that's linked on my channel. Let me check. Art, Twitter, models. No, it's not. Right, I will, once this stream is done, put the link to my BitChute back in the Discord server. Is it in the intro? No, it's not. Right, okay, that's complete lost media. Yeah, I will do that once I'm done with this here. Right, where are we? Oh yes. Yeah, the legs being returned here is actually because they're on 2 different levels, and it's just another. It's the original image, just cropped. Then we have Santa and Satan. That's just fairly simple. It's a lot of layers, but really simple ones because nothing's actually moving. So you just have the main text and then the morning star text underneath. Oh, I forgot to censor the breasts. Hopefully YouTube doesn't pick me up on that. Yeah. This, I don't, for some reason, absolutely chugs in the video editor. Like, it just... barely manages 1 frame per second on the preview on that. But yeah, the scribble effect is fairly simple. It's just a expanding crop, so less and less of the image is cropped, and then that makes its way across. Nah, Lamias, yeah, Lamias are great. Everyone loves a Lamia. They're just big cuddlies. What cipher? The cipher is called Morningstar. I made it myself. In fact, here's something I prepared earlier. Yeah, it's just a font that I made manually. So if we put that like 22, like I'm not there. We go like the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. You can just type in it. It's just a straight cipher I made. I did try and actually make some resemblance to it. So all the vowels are all similar. They're all this upended cross shape, with the most common being the simplest, but the simplest being E for the most common. So you got A, E, I, O, U. So yeah, it's just one I made myself one day. I think it was back at my first job. I was bored and came up with it partially. I think I first used it in... I think it was the Honeypot video that I think I made it for. Or maybe it was in the Need for Madness? I don't think it was in the Need for Madness one. I think it was just in the Honeypot one that I made it for. The Honeypot one also does provide a rather easy deciphering of it, as in the ending, it does look like... Yes, that was intentional. Yeah, just...
That's more like it.
All of Audrey's dialogue is subtitled in Morningstar, so if you can hear what she's saying, you can just read that and back cipher. Or you could just do it via sort of frequency analysis, just looking at the parts where there are more and slowly building up and working back as a standard deciphering effort. But yeah, it's a little bit based on runes as well. I was quite into the runic alphabets as a kid, so I like manually learned Elder Futhark and stuff like that. Yeah, yeah. I go off on tangents and things that I maybe shouldn't all the time, but hey, it was fun. And regardless, yeah. I also wanted it to be entirely straight lines, so there's no curves in it. I might make if I consider this like my demonic script, I might make like an angelic counterpart at some point that would then be entirely curves and no straight lines at all. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm glad people did, because I've had it in videos for well over a year, and it wasn't until the inscription video that anyone mentioned having ever deciphered it. Yeah, that's just... Yeah, so yeah, I've got Succubus. Conlang Critic. I don't, but I will note that down, because that sounds like something I would rather enjoy. I do like some conlangs. Yeah, this is another shot that just chugs for some reason in the editor. I don't know why. It's just an image pan with then a "you are here" that pops up, but for some reason it didn't like it. Yeah, so this I did have to censor manually, which the way I do that is you just have the original clip with the titties out, and then you crop the Ooh, okay, that doesn't apply the blur to that. Okay, but So you crop it down, so it's just like the square over here, and then apply a blur filter just on there, and then it only blurs that portion. Right, well, hopefully those 4 frames don't get me yeeted off YouTube. Yeah, that's just Agony and the undulating flesh. I think Agony actually looks better than Succubus, despite coming out like a lot earlier. I think it has a far more advanced lighting engine, but it doesn't really matter in Succubus because you're just careening around at the speed of sound. Yeah, that's just, yeah, nothing interesting there. That's just 3D positions. Let's see. Yeah, good old dusk. Yeah, so, yeah, this clip, which actually I think is here now. In
fact, no jump at all.
I didn't have footage of it at the time, hence why there's just a marker here for me to come back and stick it in. Yeah, should be fine. I'm not big enough that anyone's really going to notice or care. That being said, I did have the Gundam clickbait video I made. The thumbnail for that got taken down for a community guideline, hence why it's the one I have now. The original one actually looked like Spinning Rust, Video Archive, stuff. Gundam Tears. The original thumbnail looked like that, with the Fortnite Victory Royale in the background to be maximum clickbait. But yeah, that got taken down, so I made that version instead. But you know, Insect Girls? I quite like some Insect Girls. Like the Bee Girls are often very cute, I think. They're not like my favourite, but I do like them. There's not many Monster Girls I don't particularly like. Apart from, like, the obvious ones that no one likes, like the Humpty Egg or the Mantango Pit. Yes. Now into the bit that took me a couple weeks to do. Because as you can see, there's a lot of layers here, and each one of these little dots is a point of having to manually position something. Yeah, Centipede Girls are cute. There's an artist on Twitter who does a very cute one. Interestingly enough, for this clip, I had to just take some footage that I recorded in the game and then just move it around.
One by one called the Red Queen.
To be appropriately sitting in the right place. Yeah, just got... It was quite a coincidence that the deity is called the Red Queen, because I already had this evil devil model of Audrey from Honey Pot, and I was like, Red Queen, yeah, that seems about right. Yeah, then you got old Nimrod, who's the protagonist of Agony, and then the good old 7-headed Beast of Revelations. This piece of art, which I in fact got off some Christian, like, uber conservative blog about how the liberals are stealing your penis or something. But it's one of those things of what I often refer to as the skeleton with a machine gun dichotomy of there was a statue of a skeleton holding a machine gun that was meant to be this, like, anti-war piece, but kind of just made war look sick as shit. Of, this is meant to make like the Antichrist look all bad and stuff, but like that thing's cool as hell. I don't know what I'm talking about. I have a question. Have you watched the sequel to Monster Girl Doctor? Yes, I have. That's it. Or are you referring to interviews with Monster Girls? Um, yeah, no, that's good. The mermaid in Monster Girl Doctor was adorable. She was very cute. Yeah, yeah, it's just open in case of strange dog. And then this wasn't actually too hard an effect to achieve. You just have a sparkly light, the silhouette, which you can't see if I mute it, and then just each half of the box. So, oops, so something can rise out from in between it. Then we have the seven-headed beast of Benders, with Audrey riding on it. Just my favourite explosion.jpg that I use in basically every video. And then, yeah, fairly simple pan picture frame animation into the narrowing effect is as low tech as it gets. It's just two big black squares that move down, and then lens flares that I manually had to track. Reason behind it, not a particular reason. It was just to go with the joke of them going on some raging bender across the earth. So they were getting drunk, and I thought it'd be funny to put a different hat on every single one of the heads. It was for the sake of visual comedy. Yeah. Yeah, the noise here is the new type flash from Gundam 0079. Yeah, let's just slap it together. I had to get like 4 different slap effects just to get the one I wanted, and then just layer them together. Yes, the poster. Let me grab the full version of that. Yeah, it flew under the radar a bit, but it was a good show. I put that image. I get through quite a lot of images stacked up in here. There we go. There it is. Gone to the Rapture. Yeah, we have the Simp for Your Queen or Die poster, and the Gone for the Rapture, Back Never, lol. I think they're talking about Monster Girl Doctor. It's a pretty good one. Yeah, good old countdown clock. And then something with like no edits for a bit. Well, without standard pan and scan across the... God, the Habsburg family circle. Like... Only black lines on this are not incest. As you can see, from here on out, basically there is no black lines anymore. It's... God, the Spanish royal family. This was a bit that was probably trickier than it actually appeared, as I had to get the shadows for each of these things. However, this image is tilted. It's not flat on, so I couldn't just straight trace over. So I had to look at this window, open my video editor, my image editing software, and then look at marks on the table, wood texture, and then work out where the shadows should roughly be. So I could see like, there's that smudge there and that smudge there. So I kind of want it to go between those, and then around to about the 5th grain mark here. And after a bit of trial and error, it came out pretty well. I mean, there's no consistent light source, of course, but it looks good enough. Now we've got the Rock, then Angel Halo from Monster Girl Quest, and the first Blade, which I think is from Supernatural. Then that's the same thing. I just exported it as a video file so I could just paste it in a bunch of times. Yes, the silhouette is in fact Yeah, they were very much trying to keep the royal blood royal, I think was the term. Yeah. Yeah, so that silhouette there is this. That's a lot of Fs. Yeah, the grave reads, here lies Vernon Scannell, who is a dead poet from, died in about like 2007, well, died in 2007, who I just happened to not like a certain poem of during my secondary school education and just never really got over it. So I made him. Actually, no, I've only actually ever mentioned it in this video, because the other video I brought it up in, I never finished and never got released. That was the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy one, which, yeah, one day I'll unearth that and maybe finish it. But I never finished that one. So this joke doesn't even have any kind of context. Yeah, this is just a map of West Yorkshire from Google Maps, as I couldn't find where he was actually buried. Oh, glad you like the art. It's an artist I commissioned. I'm not a great artist myself, so I pay people for that. I can edit images. I can change them to be what I want them to, but I can't draw from scratch. Yeah. Video game. I don't know if that name was intentional or not by then, but who knows? Yeah. Oh yeah, we got the Succubus and good old MC from Monmouth. Pretty sure that just says like Ara sex now, I think. And then I'm not entirely sure what that said. Ah, yes, this you might recognise as the set that I made for using in the Birds of Prey video, but without my character standing here, hence why there's kind of an empty third. But can't be too careful with showing clips from anime, so I wanted to crop it and put it in a way where I was unlikely to get caught up on it and claimed on it. Footage, incidentally, is from the first episode of Gate, which, if you haven't seen, I would recommend. It is Japanese military propaganda, but it's enjoyable military propaganda, because it's basically, what if a fantasy setting attacked modern day Japan, and it goes poorly because, 556 goes through a wooden shield quite easily, as you can see. Nothing particularly interesting there. Yeah, that took a while to edit, to get all the World Cup banners up and the bunting, and then have all the North FC people come through. Yeah, it is a kind of a show where they sell more the medieval violence the American way. It's also the one with the death priestess who gets horny when people die around her. I have watched Cancol. I wouldn't play the actual game, as I'm not really into gachas, and but I certainly do enjoy a bit of the Cancol art. My absolute favourite being, of course, my favourite being Yujachi. I like the dumb poi dog. She's a good dog. I like Shimikaze as well. Lily, I didn't mind Lily. I thought she was fine. Didn't particularly appeal to me though. Yeah, no, she's a good dog. the only one of those gachas that I did play was Girls Frontline. I played quite a lot of that, and in fact, I did cosplay Mosin back in the day. Mosin Nagant from Girls Frontline. I like the idea of a Harvey Phoenix as well. It's a good one. Ever do an elbow reveal? I mean, there's pictures of my elbows that exist online. So you can find pictures of my elbow. I try to keep my face mostly off this channel as I play a character. So I want that to be my persona, but like on Twitter and Instagram, I have my face all over there. So you can go check that out if you want to see me dressed as various anime characters. Am I a Genshin gamer? No, I've not got into Genshin. Do quite like Ganyu. I do like Ganyu, but need links. My Twitter's linked on my YouTube channel, and my Instagram's linked in my bio of my Twitter. They're not hidden. Oh, the video making a Commissar hat. Yeah, that's real old. That's not even. I have that unlisted these days. That is. Yeah, that's back here. That's a long time ago. That's 2018. Ugh, it's 5 years ago now. Didn't really care much for the gameplay, but yeah, I get that. Alright, see you in a bit, Naz. Hot bag pictures. There were some pictures of my back on them. Anyway, this was a shot that I wasn't entirely happy with because
Buckle.
my recording software and print screening don't give the same color. So you can kind of see where I've just cropped the typing from, but like the background color here isn't the same as the background color on this. They're a little bit different, despite them being both captured from the same monitor. But I had to use two different layers, as this is the layer that has it as if it's that has it as Vidya, with the at being suck you dry. Whereas this one, it's just recorded off my screen. That's just my Twitter. Message redacted. I remember bits of the game lore. I remember it being a real edgy plot. It was they did not have a good time. Valk OnlyFans. When I did actually, for a bet, make a Patreon once. That was for cosplay. I don't think I've used it in years. I assume it doesn't exist anymore. It might still do. I don't think it does though. I'm not making OnlyFans. I very nearly did make an OnlyFans for the sake of just going for the pun and having it be just full of footage of my desk fan going. But I felt that was too much of a dad joke to actually do, and I couldn't be bothered to finish it. Fairly simple edits here. Everything's just on motion tracks, just using a shadow layer and then a main layer. This was a pain in the ass, because this cutscene only plays the very first time you play the level. Once you've completed the level, you can't go back and see the cutscene again. even if you just select the level to play again, it just ends before it. So I had to get someone else's Steam account, set up Steam family sharing, and then log in on their account on my PC where I already had the game installed, just so I could play through the first level again to get the footage. Oh yes, the list of greetings in hell. You got biting off fingers, pinky or ring, light flame, moderate incendiary crucifixion, chainsaw lobotomy, and as it gets worse, we get to like biting off bigger fingers or speaking French. Just saying about that. In retrospect, ooh, what do I do there? In retrospect, I probably shouldn't have used this shot, because the Jinn is the little black thing there, which you can't really see. So it more looks like the dude with his schlong out is the one talking. Yeah, sometimes the graphics go a bit weird on the lighting, especially on the hair. Nothing much there. Oh yeah, the chain smoking.
To sound like she'd been chain smoking since the banishment of Cain.
That was a fun effect to do. That's fairly simple. And also one that I think, and something that I think doesn't get appreciated that much, is that sound effects really make animation. Like, playing it without, it just doesn't sound anywhere near as good if you just sort of see it take place. It's the sound effects of like the creaking of the jaw as it hinges and the steam that makes the effect work. Oh no, it does still exist? Okay, I need to get rid of that then. There's nothing's locked to any of the higher tiers. I just put stuff pretty much there on a joke. There's don't follow it. It's not worth it. There's nothing there, and it hasn't been used in years. Wish it wasn't a fucking mobile game. Yeah. Oh yes, Hell Norway is a real place. And the bass boost.
And the aforementioned cock crumple chat.
I don't know why that just makes it funnier to me. Yeah, I wrote this in the script, only half remembering it, and couldn't remember if it was actually a real thing or just a joke someone made about what was going to be in the game. So I was quite happy to find that, yes, it generally was a thing that was part of the game. And then that is kind of, we're past the hardest parts of editing. So like 2/3 of the time took place on the first half there, and then the rest I managed to get finished and everything in just like a couple of weeks. Yeah, Arknights has some really good character designs as well, but it's just not that interesting. Started watching the anime, but it was just kind of dull, very very slow. Oh yeah, these bits I did have to censor myself because that's talking about the sex scenes, which you can't access in the uncensored mode, in the censored mode. So I had to manually censor all of those myself. You can still kind of make out what's going on if you know, but I think it's fine enough. Also, it's not actually censored in the thumbnails, but I think that's small enough and low enough resolution that YouTube won't care. Oh, this I did have fun with. Going through old Neo cities to try and find the most 2000s pages possible. Just as much eye cancer as you can get. And then gamer poop. That's something which people of my age probably remember quite well, and no one else will care about because it was actually terrible. Yeah, fairly easy edit there. That's just a stack of images. Oh yes, and the chemical sheds. I had quite a lot of fun making that, actually. Where is it? Where is it? There it is. Playbird. Entertainment for avians. I tried to copy the like style and fonts of the actual Playboy as much as possible. Real copies? I'm afraid it doesn't exist. It was just a mock-up. However, that being said, it is the year of the rabbit this year now, so maybe I should get some more bunny suit pictures made. I do quite like the bunny suit. It's not like I've made 2 of them for real myself or anything. Oh yes, Tifa getting railed on the Italian Senate. Channel merch. Bird claw pics. Do I have an idea for next video? Yes, I have a long list of ideas for next videos. I have a hidden channel, the Discord, which every time I have an idea or someone suggests something that I think might be fun, I just jot it down on there. So I have quite a lot. I am not decided on what it will be next. It won't be the Mortal Kombat Quest video. I still don't feel I'm ready to do that yet. I'm saving that for a specific time. Actually, it might be Shadow Warrior now I think about it. Just replaying like half a level for the sake of this clip here. I forgot how much fun that game was. Maybe I'll take a look at the second and third one, but I was never interested in the second, and the third one I've heard is very, very short. I can't really give a hint if I don't know myself. If I did, I'd let you all know. Yeah, so there's much less things in the editing timeline, therefore making it a lot easier to do things with. That's just a simple motion track edit under crop. Oh yeah. Quick guide to the afterlives. Let me get a full version of that up. There it is. Yeah, so this I just quickly knocked together. Of being Earth, you die, you go to the 7 circles, you then get killed by Vidya again, you go to hell too. Double hell. No, you're not getting access to that to that channel. Fairly simple edits from that point onwards. That's just talking about footage. Curse me all you want. You're not getting me channel. That's or the Star Furry ERP channel. That's not real. It doesn't exist. I play a fair amount of Western style games as well. As my Steam recap can tell you, most of what my Western as in the Wild West, not as in Western developed. That was a joke channel. There's nothing in it. That's just what I use for testing. But I thought it'd be funny to have that. I've shown it in one of the videos before. For like 4 frames, it popped up. No, it's not a real channel. What are you talking about? Yeah, most of my Steam recap, I think, was Gundam Evolution, Inscription, and Supreme Commander Forged Alliance. You may notice on the timeline here, there is a bunch of positions of things, yet they're not moving. That is because the Combine Harvester is actually a video that is animated, so as it goes along, the fire is moving, and the stars on the front spin around. But GIFs, I don't really know how to make work, so instead I just put it in here and then just render it out a section. And then I can use that section as an overlay. It also has a blood splurt that comes out the back, but you can't really see it very well. But it is there. What else am I hiding from you? Ooh, many, many things. Yeah, this section was a bit more awkward to do, because this was when I came back from family holidays, and to find that the game had been patched and now broke every time you tried to use a magic attack. Which was a little awkward. So I had to spend a couple of hours backdating the game to a previous patch to actually get the game to run again without crashing. Hopefully they'll fix that soon. I rolled. Ah, yes, the death graph. So yeah, that was about why there are more human souls than demon souls. And for that, I actually made a full graph in Excel. Because trying to find data on how many people die in a year is quite difficult once you go back past about the 1800s. Simply a proverbial event. No, the truth is, I just don't really have much that I'm particularly hiding. Most of the stuff I'm fairly open with. So yeah, what I ended up finding for this was a list of the total population of the world in millions at each time, and then I did it in roughly 100-year sections, and reasoned that anyone who was alive at the start of the century probably was dead by the end of it. So I could just take the difference in population growth roughly as an indicator of how many people died in that time-ish. However, if I had actually done it, instead of the graph looking like this, it would look like... it would look like this. Would you look at that? Negative 58 million people died in the 1400s. That is because of a little thing we like to call the Black Death, causing the population globally to go down, rather than up as it did in every other year. So I had to just sort of take some estimates. Luckily, the Black Death had quite a lot of good research on it, so I could find estimates of anywhere from 75 to 200 million people dying in that year, dying from the plague. Given that a lot of other people would have been dying in the rest of the world, I just took the upper estimate and went, 200 million. We'll go with that. So that's that spike, and then continues to go up. And then once you get to the 19th century, a lot of people died, which is kind of just an aspect of just how many people were alive, because this is fairly close to just a sort of graph of population growth, which I suppose is true. But yeah, that's how I got that graph. The ego death zone. This took a bit of editing. More on the audio side, actually, as this has a lot of layers of audio. As I wanted the audio to sound like sort of disturbing and uneasy. Wouldn't Death Nor be a 4 or 5 to 1 based on the 4-5 generation? Yes, probably. Like I said, it was a very rough estimate. I didn't have the time to do the proper university dissertation that would have been required to actually get the proper data on that. At this point in the video, I think is in the editing timeline is 2 days ago. So I really wanted to get this out for before 2023, so I wasn't going to take the time to do all the maths properly. Yeah, So the audio in here uses a bunch of stuff. So two of these intricacy. Yeah, that's one word for it. So these are sometimes known as like binaurals or something. They're essentially a low hertz tone that sort of just hums.
Walls for 70 years.
And gives that sort of speedy, gives the sort of ambient humming noise.
Desk among identical white walls for...
Which I had just slowly increase. Then this one is just someone crying sped up and reduced a bunch. Sissy Hypno says, yeah, they are the same thing people use for that. Yeah, this track is just forest ambience. I think it's got some wolves howling in it later. Yeah, then this one was... generic horror noise. Yeah, this one I think was just crying.
Identical white walls for...
just to make it that little bit more uneasy. And then the coup de grace is this one, which is the sound of tinnitus.
Unremarkable.
That horrible high-pitched screaming that I get in my ears constantly because I didn't use proper hearing protection when I used to go shoot with my dad as a kid. Actually, that's probably his fault, not mine, but that's just sounds I hear sometimes, but it's very unpleasant, so I thought it would go well in the video. And then, yeah, this is just a... it's funny you should mention Hypno, actually, as I did try and use some stuff that I vaguely remember reading in a hypnotist textbook once, which is it's sort of and stuff. What's his name? Who's the one who does it on TV? Like David, what's his face or something? David Padilla? No, David Padilla's a comedian. Whatever that British hypnotist mentalist dude does. So you essentially have unbroken eye contact and like a slow zoom, and then you affect things in the background. No, you still do have to worry about hearing protection, because then you can go outright deaf. I just happen to have a occasional ears screaming at me. And then, in order to keep disorientation up, I made everything in the background move, and also move in different directions. For this bit, I have two different layers of the transparent men that move in different patterns at different speeds, and then the different speeds to the zoom, just to sort of, so your mind and your like your can't focus on like spatial properly. Can't catch tinnitus twice. Yes, but it can get worse. Then we just have the swirly Milky Way. That's just a simple rotation, and then again two things moving at different speeds. The extra thing is this weird checkerboard, as you've probably noticed, which has a bunch of TV static and heavy pixelation on it. Because this layer, as you can probably see if I zoom out, doesn't have anything else on it at all. Because this layer isn't actually a video layer, it is a what's the term? Compositing layer, I think. So it just affects the layers below it, and then you can change how much it compositing mode custom. You can change how much of an effect it has. So here there's no displacement, and then here where I want the glitch effect, you then actually have it have an effect, and then when you want the glitch to stop, you just turn it back, and then that allows you to get the glitchy effect. And then I put, yeah, a bunch of Morningstar text. I'm glad people had fun translating. I can, in fact, reveal that they are all, in fact, shitposts. These raw as hell lines are all from random tweets and Tumblr posts of when you see a take one candy bowl in a restaurant, wait until no one's looking and shovel candy into your pockets. God may judge you, but his sins outnumber your own. Yeah. Yeah, that quote is just something the Linux account tweeted out. Listen to music too loud. Yeah, that will also do it. So yeah, all of these deep sounding quotes, they're stolen from shitposts. And then the burning house. That's just 3 layers of fire texture and a alternating red and blue semi-transparent square. And now we're really in the home straight. It's just a subtle Janny because he does it for free. Oh yeah, those just various commissions that I have got done over time. If anyone can identify where I stole that, where that uniform is in reference to, congratulations on you. Is this live? Yeah, and it's live. Yeah, no real edits there. That bit was all nice and smooth. That's why I got a lot of it done in not that long. Yeah, the old Succubus mail. This is just a fairly simple, just moving images and cropping them around to make 4. Yeah, the stopping for editor's notes
quick editor
is really easy. You can literally just right click and go freeze frame at cursor, and then it does that pause effect. Nothing to really talk about with any of that. That's just standard image placement. That's just, yeah, an edit I made. Obviously those God of War posters aren't real. It's back when I wrote the script, these posters were everywhere, but now they're not anymore. And that's pretty much it as far as editing goes. That's pretty much it. These are all just standard placements and then a fade out until the final after credits joke. Happy New Year to you too, Had. There is one bonus thing which I did leave in the timeline, which is, as I showed at the beginning, that's where the audio goes to, and then that's where it ends up after I've cropped it all down. And that's because of a relentless amount of bad takes. Hey, it could be worse, Had. I could be one of the harpies that don't even have hands. Must be real rough for them.
In a word, it's irrelevant.
And this is why it was 40 minutes, because...
Fuck, how do I actually say that word? Irreverent? In a word, it's irreverent. In a word, it's irrelevant. Oh, fuck, this is going to take a lot of takes.
It's because it took me like a full minute-ish for me to actually say irreverent properly. I still have to think about it now. Irreverent, as in reveling in something. But I kept just saying irrelevant. And just couldn't quite... Yeah, irreverent, yeah. Do need to work on some tongue twisters. Ah, Croc, you made it. Yeah, I'm a bit of a bird brain. Cut me some slack. English was never my subject. I was a maths and science and IT kid. But yeah, that's all for that video then. Oh, I forgot. I meant to put the Berserk frying pan clang in at one point. I forgot to do that. Yeah, I was a bit of a nerd. I mean, most people don't end up as YouTubers if they aren't, or at least they don't do this with their YouTube timelines if they are. I mean, I used to be alright at them, like red lorry, yellow lorry, red lorry, yellow lorry was once thought to be difficult, and I was alright at that one. But yeah, that's kind of everything. I didn't actually plan an ending for this stream. Well, that would imply I planned anything for the stream other than it happening, but that is it. So, sort of any other questions or anything you want to ask, or I wrap this up for the night, seeing as we've been going for about an hour now. I have work tomorrow, unfortunately. I can't keep streaming forever. But I might start actually streaming more often then. I'll chill around for another 10-15 minutes if you guys have anything you want to ask or anything of interest. Work is for the week. Work is also for the people who need to pay rent and bills. And hey, commissions don't pay for themselves. I have to, well, unless this channel really starts taking off. I've got to get more harpy art somehow. Be a leech. I can't really. Not these days anymore. My family are many hundreds of miles away. Talk about streaming on Discord, so we can talk about stuff now. I have. Do I have a 3D Valk model? I do not. That is something I'd maybe like to get down the line. I do have some VR setups, so I could potentially, if I did get a 3D one, essentially use it as mocap and like fully gesture and everything rather than just the live 2D. So that could make potentially doing more difficult animations easier with a three-dimensional thing if I want to gesture more explicitly rather than just, well, I can kind of tilt side to side, look up and down, and that's about it with this. The lip syncing and blinking isn't even that good on it. There's a lot of refinement that goes into making those look good, which I haven't done. Only birds. No, I'm not making an only birds. Just fly around to evade taxes. Yeah, tax evasion is the most important part on the hierarchy of needs. Forgot anything. Birdwatchers Anonymous. It's evasion in space. True. Never catch me paying them. As long as they never catch you, that's all good. Oh yeah, and good luck in basic, Ned. I know you've been working hard to get in, so congrats on making it. The Succubus video has actually been doing rather well, actually. It's currently by far my best performing video for the time frame. That's just a little over a day and is at over 500 views, which is much more than my channel usually gets, to say a lot. Like the inscription video was barely over 200 at this point. Least favourite monster girl? Probably Humpty Egg. Oh, hello. You alright there? There we go. Oh yeah, like you really loved the Prospero one, and no one watched that. Uh, that is currently sitting on 500 views. That's just doing all right. It's more than the Mass Effect video. No one watched that one. I don't actually face a huge amount of struggles, to be honest. To be honest, I'm small enough that it hasn't really caused any notable issue. I don't really care if I'm not making money off ads for a specific video, because even if I wasn't, I'm making pennies. It's nothing. It's not my main income, or even really a supplementary income. It's just a nice thing that might buy me about one round of drinks a year. So I don't really do YouTube for the money. Like for example, at the current rate of ad revenue, to get the same amount of money as my monthly salary from my real job, I would need around 13 million views a month. So that's so far off that monetization really doesn't bother me at all. And so long as I censor things properly, things are usually fine. Like that one and that one got age restricted, but like the Trap Shrine ones, they're all up still fine. And this one, I don't think will get age restricted. I think it'll be fine. Video about the Russian probe-to-Venus. I don't know anything really about that. I mainly made the Prospero video because I just found a Twitter thread that someone made about it, talking about the only satellite we ever launched, and how we utterly abandoned her to just slowly lose contact in space. Have played, want to play. I mean, on my... Yeah, it'd be nice to get more money, but I'm not particularly concerned. Yeah. Yeah, on the various things I have on my list that people have recommended, and that I might do stuff about, I've got Factorio, Interspecies Reviewer, Monster Girl Doctor, the other Starship Troopers movies, Monster Girl Quests, Flash games of my childhood, Succubus, okay, I've done that one now, Bleed 1 and 2, redo of Healer, Shadow Warrior, Mass Effect 2 maybe someday, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, still kind of want to make something of that, Symphony of the Night. Symphony of the Night is probably going to be my next Halloween video if I can actually get that out on time. That's probably what I'm going to plan for that, as I do rather adore that game. Yeah, Bionicle Stuff, question mark. Lilith Thrones, again, I've been recommended a lot of times. Metal Gear Rising's one I do want to cover eventually, but Maxwell pretty much made the definitive video on that, so I won't be making any video on that particularly soon, but I do rather adore that game, and I used to be able to basically speedrun it. I could beat the whole thing in about an hour 40 on Revengeance difficulty. Anime White. I'd like to do a spotlight on some of the British English dubs, like the notorious BBC dub of Invader Lum, and like the Birmingham dub of Steam Boy. That's one that's on there. Description, did that. Ghost Runner, I might do something on. Apostate Rebellion is one I've been recommended. I want to do something on Mega Mech at some point, which is a BattleTech fan-made project. So lots to work on. I'll get through some of those. Should do Monster Doctor because it has the mermaid. Well, on any other day I'd ban you for that. But honestly, in Monster Girl Doctor, I'm with you. The mermaid was cuter in that. Barnacles were the shit, yeah. Oh. Any last questions? Then I think we'll wrap that up. And I think I know what I can leave you all with. As thanks for watching this far. No, I'm not leaving you with only birds link, but I did promise a link for something. Oh yeah, BitChute. I'll make sure to post that for the forgotten videos. But here's a video project that I started but never finished, which was a sort of abridged version of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which I've never actually shown publicly. So thank you very much for watching. Thanks for coming along. It's been amazing to see how my channel's grown over the last year. I honestly never expected to even make it to 1,000 subs, so the fact that I'm at 1,600 is amazing. So thank you very much. Have a great new year, and I will leave you with my abridged version of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Have a good year.
The babelfish is small, yellow, leech-like, and responsible for the final unproof of God. The argument goes that due to its immense usefulness as a universal translator, simply by putting one in your ear, it is therefore proof of God's existence. As proof denies faith, he therefore does not. Most respectable theologians would say that this argument is a load of bunk. As the human race was in fact manufactured for the sake of a few mice who wished for better opportunities for chat shows, the whole exercise may in fact be bunk itself. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, in quickened, primary phase. Arthur Dent is one of the aforementioned humans, for whom the prior argument is of utmost academic interest, mostly due to the fact that someone is currently trying to demolish his home. Come off it, Mr. Dent. No, thank you. Hello, Arthur. Not now, Ford. I'm trying to deal with something. Can it wait? There's someone trying to demolish your home. They can't do that. I live here. Doing it. Ford. Arthur, come with me if you want to live.
People of Earth. This is Prosthetic Vogon Jeltz of the Hyperspace Galactic Planning Council. I've come to demolish your home.
You can't do that. I live here.
Doing it.
Where the hell are we? The Vogon ship. We hitched a ride before the Earth was destroyed. The hell of Vogon? They're a race evolution gave up on. Not actually evil, but bad-tempered, bureaucratic. Basically Margaret Thatcher, but, less sexy. Ew. What's going on? Put this fish in your ear.
Alright, humans. Poetry time.
Oh no, Vogon poetry is the third worst in the universe. Oh god, what's worse than this? Well, first there's the Asgos of Kriya in number 2, and then there's Vernon Scannell. Okay, bored of this, out the airlock you go. Ah! Are we dead? Is this hell? No, worse. South End. Ugh. 75,000 to 1 against and falling. 1,000 to 1. 1 to 1, we have normality. Could the hitchhikers please make their way to the bridge? Welcome, this is the Infinite Improbability Starship Heart of Gold. This is my hot earthling wife Trillian, our depressed robot Marvin, annoying computer Eddie, and of course the hoopiest fruit of them all, me, Zaphod Beeblebrox, man. You bastard, you stole my girlfriend. We've arrived, the fun back of here. Hey, let's go investigate. Arthur, stay with the robot. Why do I get stuck with the depressed android?
Why do I get stuck with a judgmental human? Here I am,
Excuse me, human, could you come with me?